when did you learn like, hey, I want to get into journalism? Like, was it through high school or was it earlier on than that?
It was probably solidified in high school. I
Okay.
think I grew up like as a little kid watching a lot of news, which I know is not like necessarily a thing most kids do. But in the morning when I like eat my breakfast, I'd have the news on. I just kind of like these people who delivered the news almost became like friends to me or like, secondary parent figures.
Mhm.
And I really admired them and enjoyed their stories and became interested in doing that. In high school, I joined our paper because we didn't have a broadcast thing at that time. And then while I was in high school, we started this thing called MSG Varsity. It was a sports broadcast
Okay.
website thing based off of it's part of Madison Square Garden. So Madison
Mhm.
Square Garden has their own in New York City has their own TV station.
Yep.
MSG Varsity was like the high school version of that. It was all online. So my high school became part of that. So I started doing some video stuff and sports reporting for that. Decided to go to Syracuse to really pursue broadcasting because Syracuse is a very good program for broadcast journalism. So I went there, did like student television, all the broadcast stuff. I actually got into CrossFit when I was there.
Okay.
I first dropped into a place called Gorilla Fitness in New Jersey. That was a CrossFit gym. And then when I went to Syracuse, like it was over the summer. And then when I went to Syracuse, I joined CrossFit Syracuse, which Lauren Khalil was a member or is a member there, I think now, another media person in the CrossFit space. So
Yeah.
funny how just small world.
That is a small world. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like when you were in college at Syracuse for journalism, how like what's the typical like how's the program work? Because I know you have to do internships and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So how hard is it to kind of, you know, be in that major?
Yeah, getting into the major at Syracuse University in it's called the Newhouse School. That's the name of the undergraduate college. It's a pretty difficult college to get into. If you look at Syracuse's acceptance rate, it's probably around like 50% or 40 something percent. So like, it's a fairly high-ish acceptance rate. But if
Yeah.
you look at the Newhouse acceptance rate, it's like around 10% or a little bit
Wow.
more than that. So it's
Okay.
a much more difficult school to get into
Hmm.
than the actual university. And I have some friends who went to Syracuse, tried to transfer into Newhouse, the broadcast school, and never got in. Just because it's like a hard school to get into.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of extracurriculars at Syracuse based on broadcasting because there's such a good broadcast program. So you don't have to even be in the major to really reap a lot of the benefits of being in that environment. It's kind of like, working out and CrossFit. If you put yourself in the right environment around the right people that are going to push you, you can like still get there wherever
Hmm.
there may be.
Yeah.
So I was in the broadcast program, but I have a friend who called a couple of NFL games last year.
Oh, cool.
And he never got into the program for broadcasting. He has a business major. He never had the GPA that was high enough to get in. Not that GPA is like what makes a good broadcaster necessarily, but he didn't have the GPA, so he never got in. Stayed in business and just took advantage of all the other stuff. But at Syracuse, you're going to do a lot of stuff outside of class to really become good at your craft. So I did a lot of broadcasting at the student TV station, news. I covered sports, covered the basketball team, all of that sort of stuff to really get all the experience to then get a good job and also have a good experience to like leverage that into the YouTube world when I decided to enter that.